Welcome to Subramani. This paper could have originated only in one country in the world, that is the US. There is a research report or a retirement research paper, which says young people should not save more. I repeat, should not save more, because when you are young and successful, you can be sure that your income will go up in the future. So when it goes up in the future, you can save and you can invest. There is no need to do it now. And it says for people with less skills, anyway, social security will kick in, so they need not save and invest more. So anybody who is young, who is earning well, should spend rather than save and invest. This is the crux of that paper, right? So the question is, do I agree with it or do not agree? I mean, there is somebody who said, can I buy a big car? And that's the example which has been taken. So the question is, should you save more now, or should you save more in the potential future? Well, the answer to me is very clear. India is a country where there is no social security, so there is no escaping the saving and investing. Remember, saving is a habit. Saving is not something which you can't learn. If your parents have been saving regularly, then you will also get that habit, because most of these habits are caught, not taught. However, if your parents are doing very well, and then the chances are there is less pressure on you to save. So good chance that you earn an X amount of money and you're allowed to blow the whole thing, because you're staying with your parents, they're paying for your food, they're paying for your shelter. So you have more money to spend. But what happens when you start spending and you don't save is it becomes a habit. You think, oh, this is how it is done. Whenever I go, I will use private transport, I will not use public transport, let's say at the lowest end, right? So, and then you realize that the gap between public transport and private transport is really huge, and that is what is making a difference. Now, if you get used to some of those expenses of, say, eating out, using less, say, the more expensive airline, the more expensive modes of travel, and slightly upgrading, right? So all those things, changing the restaurants which you are using, buying a bigger car than what you need and what you can afford. So when you do all those things continuously, it becomes a habit. Do you think suddenly at 30 you can say, oh, now I will not do all that, I will start saving? Life is very difficult. It does not happen. It's very difficult to come back on the road that you have traveled yourself. Psychologically, if you have spent a lot during your younger days, chances are when you are suddenly asked to save, you think it's some kind of a sacrifice. For example, if I say that instead of smoking, you could save that 70-80 rupees a day and you will have 2 crores by the time you retire, or something like that, somebody is going to turn around and say, if I don't even have money enough to smoke, or if I don't even have enough money to have one Starbucks coffee a day or CCD coffee a day, what is the use? Something is wrong with your calculation. So first thing is that. Secondly, the lifestyle changes that you make are going to last with you for the rest of your life. So the choice of restaurants that you go to, the mode of transport, the fact that you eat at home or you eat outside, the fact that you can't use public transport for whatever reasons, right? So all these things become habits. After some time, how many of us have lost the ability to travel by train? Whether it is local train or whether it is long distance, Mumbai to Chennai, have I considered going by train ever? Well, I fool myself into saying, oh, there is a time problem and things like that. Actually, I have enough time. But we have just completely given up some of those options, right? We've given up the option of going by public transport. We know we get down, there is a hired taxi, an Ola or a Uber waiting for you right at the portico. Would you want to travel 700 meters or 1 kilometer to the railway station and take a train? Chances are no. So if you get used to a higher standard of living, bigger habits, everything else connected to it, then chances of you being able to come back and say, now I will start investing more because the amount of money that I have is not sufficient, it is very difficult. I would reverse it and say, if you understand the power of compounding, you want your money to go into those assets as quickly as possible and stay there as long as you can keep it, right? I would exactly do that. I would rather say and one more thing which we are forgetting is somewhere in your 40s or even in your 50s, if you have some illness issues, some health issues, you may not earn during that period, which is perhaps your golden period of earning. What happens if you are married and your wife also wants to quit? Will you have enough money to support the whole family, right? Those are the questions to ask. And what happens if your spouse has taken let's say your wife has taken a sabbatical, last 5 years she has not gone to office for whatever reasons, right? Will you be able to handle all those things? Will you have enough cash flow? So to think that thing, I'm not convinced that happiness comes from spending, right? So that's wrong, because let's say you spend 40,000-50,000 rupees on something. Let's say you spent a lakh of rupees on a good phone. Of course, you need a good phone if you're going to use it for a lot of stuff. Like I am using my phone camera for all my videos. So yes, you need a good camera, you need good lens, right? You need all that. But if you're just going to send WhatsApp and your SMS messages for OTP, and just going to the question is, how much do you know how to use it? Now take a case of spending 1 lakh on a phone versus planning for a 1 lakh rupee vacation, right? So you first decide where you want to go, then you get a couple of your friends, 2-3 friends, like I know big groups which go to say Europe, on a Europe trip or things like that. You want to go with your friends and relatives, so create your own team of people. Or maybe you're just going within India and you're going to spend 1 lakh. The whole process of putting together the people, making the itinerary, talking to the hotel, the whole process is fun. It is not just the travel. It is not you just sitting in an airline and traveling for 2 hours. That's not just the portion, right? The fact that you've spoken to so many people, you have coordinated, maybe you made a WhatsApp group, the whole process is what is giving you happiness, not just the days of travel, right? So that's very important. You will spend some things on, you'll take a birthday treat. When you're running, you'll suddenly want to treat your friends, you may want to treat your parents, you may want to buy gifts for them. Find out whether it is really giving you happiness, or are you a victim of the brand mafia, which says, oh, if you buy this car, only then you are competent. If you buy this car at the age of 30, then it's considered to be a great thing. You can afford a BMW 7 at the age of 35. That's a fantastic thing. Or all these things that make you look incompetent, make you look like a failure. They keep pushing products. Now if you're already wanting to spend, somewhere in the corner of your mind you think you deserve it, then the chances are you fall for these ads, you get into that bad habit, and sometime at 42 or 43 you suddenly look at your 6-year-old, 10-year-old kid and say, oh my god, now I have to prepare for their education and things like that. Maybe you don't leave it for too late, right? It's like a T20 match or a one-day international. If you have some 315 to score in 50 overs, it's fairly obvious that right from day 1 or ball number 1, you will be very careful and you will try to hit as much as possible, so that there is no great pressure on the lower order batsman. So exactly like that, if the earlier you start, the better it is, simply because of the power of compounding. Learn some of the things which will help you tomorrow even in your investing. Whatever you need, buy with your own money. Don't borrow now and pay later. Whatever it is, well, even for a car, see if you can make an 80% down payment. So choose a car where you have, suppose you have 8 lakhs, then choose a 10 lakh rupee car. Don't choose a 20 lakh rupee car just because you have 8 lakhs and the bank is happy to give you 12 lakhs, right? That is not the reason to be buying. So find out what is the real reason that you're buying, because the new car smell fades away, right? You suddenly start wondering, why did you buy this car? It is such a big drain on my fuel, right? And you start keeping a lot of stuff in the car because it has got big boot space. Then suddenly somebody says, can I travel with you? Then you realize that your boot needs to be cleaned. So suddenly there is no great love for the same car which you bought. So see where you're getting happiness, and happiness is more in experiences than in money. And be worried that tomorrow things could change, and money saved at the age of 22 is much more valuable than money saved at the age of 42, right? So this sounds very simple, but people do ask such questions. Thank you.